Hey everybody, KC here. So we've long talked on Morning Newsbeat about how important trust is, how critical it is for businesses to create high levels of trust among their customers, because that's the one thing you can't replace. I've often quoted the old Latin proverb, right? Trust, like the soul, never returns once it goes. So it was with great interest that I read an opinion piece in the New York Times recently by Kristen Soltis Anderson, who's a Republican pollster. And she talked about something that completely binds the political left and the political right in this country: growing distrust of pretty much everything. She talked about how people distrust the notion of democracy anymore, higher education, governmental institutions, even the military, which generally has been the most trusted institution in our country. Well, it's not declining as much as the others, but it's also not growing, and that's worrying. She didn't talk about these too much, but I think we could agree that to a great degree in this country, people distrust science more than they used to distrust it. And certainly religion. People are moving away from organized religion because so many organized religions, and we can think of one specifically, have basically done nothing to create any kind of trust or, quite frankly, moral authority. That's a different issue. Now, my feeling about this has always been that I distrust individuals, I don't necessarily distrust institutions until the individuals who are running or making those institutions run thoroughly corrupt those institutions. And then my feeling is just get rid of the whole thing. But there are very few cases in which I think that has actually happened. But the thing is, business is not immune from this. And the thing is, it's really interesting. Big business, well, people on the left generally mistrusted big business, but people on the right lionized it. But that's changed. That's been made clear in recent elections, where people on the right as well as the left has sort of demonized a lot of big business. And that is concerning, especially if you're in business. Here's a line from Anderson's piece. This year, PricewaterhouseCoopers surveyed business executives and found that 90% of them thought that customers trusted them a lot, while only 30% of customers surveyed agreed. And that's fascinating. She says, I'm always struck by the number of successful leaders who are surprised that more Americans do not give them or their industry the benefit of the doubt or see the good in what they're doing. Regardless of intentions, the reality is that we're in a low trust moment, and it binds right and left together. And if you're in business, and especially if you're a retailer, and you're having constant, consistent contact with your customers, you have to not take trust for granted. It seems to me you have to work every day to create some level of trust, talking to customers more often, listening to customers more often, being transparent about how products are made, how products are sold, when there are problems, what those problems are. Be transparent about things like inflation. Talk to your customers. Treat your customers like adults, and they'll have greater trust in you. But this is something I think most businesses don't do. I think they take trust for granted, and that's one thing they can't take for granted, because if they lose it, they'll never, ever get it back. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.